All right, guys, before we get started with the fight breakdown of all fight breakdowns, Masvidal versus Diaz, let's thank a couple of our sponsors. First of all, let's kick it with Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Use that special promo code DVA20. Why? You get 20% off and free shipping on what? Anything and everything, guys. Manscaped.com. Check them out. I use the Lawnmower 2.0 once a week. The wife loves it. There you go. You're welcome. Manscaped.com, promo code DVA20. And WarhammerFightwear.com, guys. Check them out on their website or on Amazon. I use Amazon. You use Amazon. We all use Amazon. Check them out at Warhammer Fightwear. They got some of the best gear using in mixed martial arts. They got some great shirts, trucker hats. They got stuff for kids. And my wife's favorite, again, leggings, okay? So, hey, if the happy wife, happy life, check that out. Guys, it's the fight breakdown. Masvidal Diaz, the professor's coming on the show. This is Fight Breakdown.
Oh, my goodness.
The fastest knockout in UFC history.
Masvidal just made a statement.
That dude was talking wild, man. I had to show him that there's some bad motherfuckers out there and you don't want to wake them up. I'm a real fighter. Dana White, bring me somebody that can beat me.
One of the biggest superstars in the game, Nate Diaz, is back. Nate Diaz, what a fight.
Jorge Masvidal had a good last fight. There ain't no gangsters in this game anymore. But me and him, I know my man's a gangster, but he ain't no West Coast gangster.
This fight's not only a fight that people want to see, this is for the baddest motherfucker in the game.
The world's greatest arena,
Madison Square Garden.
Undefeated in the streets, Jorge Masvidal.
I'm going to give it my all, man, whatever it takes. Whatever it is, man, I'm coming to fight with everything I got. The real is back. If you like watching people that kick ass, tune in.
Nate Diaz loves to scrap. He's got outstanding boxing. He can submit anybody in the world on the ground.
I'm a warrior. I'm here to kill and be killed.
I'm coming to win.
Dana's making a belt just for that. This is the baddest motherfucker in the game, belt.
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right, guys, this is the Fight Breakdown. Fight Breakdown.
Fight breakdown!
Oh my gosh, Professor, this is the one. If you know me, if you've been a part of the Fight Bananas community, this is the Fight Breakdown I have been made for. This is what I've been dreaming of. Oh my gosh. But if I can first, before we start breaking it down, detailed round, what happens next, MSG, everything, can I go off on a quick little rant about this?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay, you ready? And I know if you disagree, hey, let's talk about it. If you totally agree, I'll buy you something. We'll let it go, all right? Okay. So you and I are around the MMA communities. We talk to people. We read stuff. We see stuff. FightBananas.com, social media platforms. We're in it. We wake up and we can't wait to talk MMA. Is that right? You're with me on this?
Yes, absolutely. We're right there. We're in the thick of things to say the least.
Okay, there you go. Totally agree. So there's probably a 5, 8, 10, 12%, 15% maybe that's, oh my gosh, Madison Square Garden, the main event, is it really not a title fight? Man, these guys don't have a great record. Is this fight really this big? They're crapping on the fight. If you're part of this 5, 8, 10, 12, 15%, stop the podcast right now. You can delete it and move on with your life. If you are not 100% all in with this fight, we don't need you. I don't want you. Get off the podcast. Move forward. Have a great day. Stay blessed. Like, this is a fighter's fight dream. Fans, like, everything else. Every fight, there's so many great fights in the last couple of months and in the next couple of months. That UFC 245, 3 title fights in December in Vegas. This is the
fight.
fight.
Here you go. Here, let's break it down math-wise, right? You said the 10% of the people out there that think this fight is a joke, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Well, let's take 10 away from 100. That still gives us 90. I'm a math teacher. 90% is still an A. Then let's add the bonus of this being two of the baddest MFers in the business, period, end. That's a 20% bonus. So I'm looking at a 110% fight anyways. You know what I'm saying?
That actually made perfect sense, and that's why you're called the Professor.
That's right. So we don't need them. Like you said, we don't need them. We don't want them. Get out of here.
Right.
Go do what you do.
Like,
go watch badminton. Go watch horse racing. I think NASCAR might be on, be coming up soon again. I don't know. But just don't worry about tuning in unless you're trying to watch one of the greatest scraps in UFC history.
Right. And, this whole story, I love the story. I love how to be honest, how they're kind of, I think they honestly really do deep down inside their soul respect the other fighter. I like how both of them think, dude, this is the realest guy other than me in the UFC. He's the realest guy. And I love that. I like how their records are what their records are. They're legends. They're icons. They're bigger than just a record. They're bigger than just one title fight. Guys, you can argue, and I say this all the time, and I talked to Jacob Killer Kilburn about it. I love moments. No one remembers. John, we're in the game, right? Name me the welterweight champion 2 after GSP.
No, absolutely.
Right,
I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000%.
But you and I know. We remember. We were with each other when we saw Masvidal knee Askren.
That moment. I will never forget that moment, Dave. You were with me. I will never forget that moment.
When Diaz choked out Conor McGregor, the MMA ground, the universe shook forever. That's what I'm talking about, guys. These are moments, and they're fighting in Madison Square Garden and Miami, a West Coast, East Coast guy. This is perfect. Dana White is printing money. This is a beautiful match make. John, this is incredible. BMF, UFC 244.
So all I'm saying is that sometimes you have to do things to make fights happen the way you want them. Sometimes money's not enough. Sometimes somebody wants something shiny around their belt to get in there. Whether it's, just their time to get it, or whether it's damn it, I've been in this game for a long time. If I'm rightfully given a title shot and they want to throw money at me, that's great. But ultimately I was fighting to be the best. Well, you know what? I don't mind the title of being the baddest motherfucker on the planet, right?
Right.
That's a hell of a title. Right. BMF. That's a hell of a title. So you go toss money and give me that title? I'll be the first one ever to have that? That's an easy concept. And how many times has it happened in MMA to where we know those interim titles get thrown out there just so somebody can have a shiny thing around their waist so they can get this fight done? You know what I mean?
Right.
So people, look at it however you want. This is a fight we all needed to see. This is a fight everybody wanted to see. You know damn well when they walk in there, they're not going in there to look at each other. This is not going to be Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis. This is not going to be one of them fights. This is not going to be a fight where they look and lay on each other and hug each other and not try to hurt each other. These dudes are going to bang. They're going to fight. They're going to get it done. They're going to show you who the baddest MFer is, period. And this fight is why we break it down.
I love it. Okay, cool. So we both got that a little bit off of our chest. I feel a lot better, I'm not going to lie. This fight, guys, Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. It's the main event of UFC 244, Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, November 2nd, live on pay-per-view. This is it. The whole card is stacked. It's one of the best, if I could say, most underrated card of all time, and it's getting a ton of love. And it doesn't have the title fight, and it's weird it doesn't have a Jones or a GSP or a Conor or a Ronda or a Brock. But I'm telling you guys, when we look back on this card a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, we're like, wait a second, this had 9 UFC champions, great rivals, really, really important number one contender fights all across the board, Kevin Lee's and Gregor's. There's Corey Anderson and Johnny Walker's. I love me some Darren Till. He's moving up to middleweight versus Kelvin. There's just crazy fights everywhere. Hey, Derek Lewis is back in the Garden. You never know what's going to happen with him. So the card is absolutely stacked. And the cherry on top, there's no doubt about it, Masvidal Diaz.
Oh, absolutely. This, like you said, this is an underrated card. This is a fighter's fight card. This is a fight card to where you look down at it and you're like, man, there's maybe not the biggest names right now. Like you said, they're going to be future big names, but you look at them and they're all badass scraps. They're all fights that you're like, stylistically, momentum wise, everything, it lines up. You've been saying it all year. The UFC's been on fire with matchmaking, and this isn't any different. You know what I mean? This is exactly the same way, right up the same categories. All the other cards that we just watched, that did well, that had all these big names on it, but also had great, unbelievable scraps on the undercard. This is right up there with them. It's going to be exciting. It's in the mecca of combat sports. Dare say, Madison Square Garden be the mecca. Everybody wanted to fight there. Whether it be play basketball, whether it be boxing, MMA now, whatever it is, you always wanted to at least partake in some type of sporting event if you were an athlete in Madison Square Garden. That's just the way it is, right?
Of course.
So this is an unbelievable fight card. It's gonna be one, like you said, go down now for the ages. You're gonna look back at it and go, holy crap, holy shit, whatever you want to say. It's gonna be amazing. So let's get to the meat of it, dude. Let's get to the one that we want to talk about. Let's get to the one that the people's fight, the people's champ, the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Who is it going to be named? Is it going to be Nate Diaz, or is it going to be Jorge Gamebred Masvidal?
Wow. Okay, so Masvidal is coming in a little bit more active, definitely hotter. You can't get any, hotter than that. The knee, 4 seconds, Ben Askren. Before that, he defeated Darren Till in a main event fight on ESPN+. So he's coming in hot. He's coming in a little bit more active. For Nate Diaz, he beat
Is he coming in more active? Let me point at you now that I can say that. So is he coming in more active? Because the fight with Darren Till ended in a second, so he only went less than 10 minutes. And then he ended the knee in 5 seconds, so that was still less than 10 minutes. Nate Diaz just went 15 minutes with Anthony Pettis.
Showtime. God, I love that fight, too. I love that fight.
And that was a great fight, too, right? That was a great
sir.
fight. So it's one of those things where they just went 15 minutes, and it's one of those where it's like, okay, which one is it? Is he more active? I mean, that was 15 minutes he's already prepared for straight, and Homeboy's had 2 fights, but it's only been 10 minutes in the octagon. I think Nate Diaz's ring rust is definitely gone now. He's prepared. So I know he's a little bit more active. He has a little bit more momentum, if you want to say, but I don't know that activity doesn't. I think it weighs out the same now due to the amount of time that he got back in the octagon in his last fight. It's not like he choked somebody out in 5 seconds, so he hasn't been in there long. He went through a little bit of war, got tagged, got hit. He's back into being Nate Diaz again. You know what I mean? So I think he's ready to go that way. But you are 100% right with Jorge's riding the bigger momentum swing right now. He got the push behind him more than most people do right now, heading up to the title fights and everything.
Professor, first point, totally, you won that one. Couldn't agree with you more now after you saying that. Yeah, I really do. I love that point. He is been more. Wow, Professor is definitely up, guys. If you're keeping score at home, 1-0, Jon Radford, the Professor. No, you're right. He went 15 minutes war with Pettis. I know Pettis hurt his ankle, I think late first, early second, but hey, no. 15 minutes is 15 minutes inside the octagon. And you're right on that one and the fight was sooner. The Pettis fight was just around 2 months ago. But if I could say is, he's training. Masvidal is training down there at Coconut Creek. You know that. He's training with my man, Sin the Outlaw, Dustin the Diamond. He's training with killers, the best coaches in the game, Coconut Creek, Florida. He's training with Mike Beast Boy Davis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, but I think Masvidal has just been around the game a little bit more than Diaz. And I think when Diaz, tell me if I'm wrong, I say when Diaz is out for a month or two, that man, he hikes, he drives his bicycle, he smokes, and he smokes. So I think am I wrong, when he he de-stresses from the game, to me, Masvidal, he wakes up, he trains for a couple hours, and then he hits the streets of Miami. I just think it's a little bit different. Am I off beat on that?
You're not off beat on that, but I think they both understood that this payday was coming. Nate Diaz did not get in that octagon and call out Jorge Masvidal as the realest gangster without an inclination of the back of his head going, I want to get paid. I'm going to get paid. So they're going to throw me money for this fight. So I'm going to be ready for this fight.
Right.
Because if I win this fight, I want to get paid again. So I think he's back at it. And also he's a vegan. He keeps in shape. He does Ironmans. You can never knock his cardio, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know that Nate Diaz is going out there learning any new tricks of the fight game. I think he's just honing in on what he does best, and that's being in cardio shape, ready to scrap. His chin is still there. He's there ready, working on his boxing, working on his takedowns, defense, or takedowns even. His clinch game. He likes to clinch, things like that, and a little dirty box. So I think he's just working a lot of his game, and just he's going to be in shape. So one day, the two things we can say is even if he does de-stress after things, which I completely think you're right in most situations, but this one, knowing that there's a huge payday coming around the corner, I think you stay a little bit more fight ready.
Right. Okay.
Rather than having to get ready. As they say. And I think this one is just one of those where it's like, nah, we're going to be ready for this. We're going to go, 5 rounds. We're going to, this is not going to be one of those things where this dude's not coming to bang. I'm coming to bang. It's going to happen.
Right. And
we're both going to get paid. You know what I mean?
Definitely, you said something just right there, Professor. 5 rounds. Dana White made this the main event for a reason. In the back of his head, of course, the bell rings and it can be 9 seconds over. Diaz can jab to 2-piece in a soda to Masvidal. We'll see, right? Anything can happen. It's the fight game. But in the back of Dana White's head, he's like, I'm hoping for a Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, once every 10 years, 8-year scrap, a Roy McDonald, Robbie Lawler, 5-round war. He's hoping the Madison Square Garden, the cheers, it would just make a moment like no other. So, Dana White making this 5 rounds. What fighter do you think has the advantage in this 5-round fight?
As usually most of the time as the fight goes on, Nate gets more of a lather build underneath him, and his volume starts coming out and starts coming a little bit more, and things like that. So I think anytime you want to put 5 rounds in front of Nate Diaz, he may not have an advantage, but he definitely does not have a disadvantage in a 5-round fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the next fighter may be just as conditioned as him, but I'll tell you what, that Nate will not come in under conditioned. He's going to be able to go 5 and fight the whole time. So as far as that goes, I don't see necessarily either one of them have an advantage. I think Jorge understands what's going on here and understands, exactly what type of guy he has in front of him. And if he doesn't put him out early, he's going to be there for a long time to come. Do you know what I mean? So I think both guys are going in there. Not sure who has the advantage. All I know is I can definitely tell you that in a 5-round fight, Nate Diaz does not have a disadvantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So They could both be even, but for 100% sure, Nate does not have a disadvantage in a 5-round fight. I actually think he's better at those than he would ever be, just like he said, at 3 rounds.
Okay, so then another kind of sidebar about this fight that I disagree with. Everyone is saying, Masvidal wants to stand and bang, and Diaz, wants to use the boxing and kind of jab out, but definitely he wouldn't mind if this thing somehow trickled to the ground and Diaz can go for a submission. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to left field. I think Masvidal might have the advantage in the grappling, wrestling, just being on top, bigger, thicker, training down there at ATT with Cindy Outlaw, just kind of ground and pound, controlling, going for submissions in his own right. But, of course, Diaz is dangerous. He's dangerous as hell standing up, on his back, all that. I totally agree. Ask Conor McGregor and his neck. But I think Masvidal might want to grapple a little bit. Do you like that, or do you disagree?
I hate to burst your bubble, Dave, but you're left field by yourself. That's why they put you out there, because nobody hits the ball out there. You know what I mean? Why are you're just going to sit out there? You got you might have a good arm. I don't know what's going on out there in left field. No one's hitting the ball to you, bro. No one's sitting with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Indians in Major League. You're out in left field. It's too high. It's too high. What do you mean it's too high?
The trajectory of the ball.
It's just fucking out of here. That's what it is. No, I don't think at all that Masvidal wants to put Diaz on his back. One of the most underrated people, no, I don't want to say underrated, one of the most dangerous people off his back is Nate Diaz. He has a lot of submissions off his back. Submissions, most of the time, triangles, things like that. He's extremely slick with it. He's very, very good off his back. He's long-limbed. He can put you in a lot of bad positions in that. He can get you, he'll hold you in certain positions and hit you while you're down there. He's not unoffensive on the ground, and I don't think that bodes well for Masvidal as far as trying to punch him and hurt him on the ground. If you take him down to secure a round, I get it. No big deal. Take him down, hold him there, hit him a few times. Don't play in his guard. Get up. I agree with you on that. If that's the concept, they're going to look at each other and they're going to punch each other in the face. And when one gets hurt, they might clinch. They might do that. Someone might back up. But the odds are that these guys are just going to punch each other in the face. We're going to see some dirty boxing. We're going to see some leg kicks here and there. But we're going to see a lot of face and body punching, a lot of, wannabe stalked and slapping, a lot of quick hooks, switch stepping jabs and Superman punches, a lot of strikes, man. I don't really see this going to the ground unless one man really gets starched. And the only thing they can do is shoot or try to go down. You know what I mean? I don't really think it's going to be someone has the idea of wrestling. And if they do, well, then they're lying to each other in the press. Because I know Jorge sat there and said on the last interview he had, one of them was, this is not a fighter that's going to be laying on the ground. This is not a fight to where we're going to be laying on the ground and hugging each other and wearing each other out and just keeping somebody there because you don't really know what to do when you're fighting. All you know how to do is just hug one way. He goes, that's not this fight. This fight is two dudes that are going to scrap. We're going to bang. We're going to fight every single aspect of it, all of it. But we're there to hurt and, hit each other and hurt each other. And I was like, and that's what I totally agree with is. Like I said, I think if it goes to the ground a little bit, it'll only be there for a few seconds, 20, 30, 40 seconds at the most, and then it's back up. Someone wants to get back up and punch the other guy in the face. And I just think that's the way the fight's going to be. And I think we're looking at some type of fight I want to say it could easily be a better fight than Israel Adesanya versus Kevin Gastelum, but at the same time, it could be a fight just like it or just, a smidge below it, you know what I mean, as far as how badass of a fight it is this year, because that was a hell of a fight. Let's not forget that. That was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, that's, to me, so far, the fight of 2019.
So, and this definitely could beat that for 2019 and beat a couple fights for a couple of years, you know what I mean, from down the line. But at the same time, I think that's the type of fight this has to be in order for all of us to get exactly what we want out of it and it to go down as one of those, epic, great Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin fights, those Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler fights, the Israel Adesanya Gastelum fights. It's going to have to go down like a fight like that. That's just, we're all over the place. We're screaming, yelling, everything's going down. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be one of those. I don't think we're going to be let down. And if anything, we're going to see two dudes stand and trade until one of them drops.
Right. If you had take all the money you got, all the savings, everyone you go to Vegas and you're going to put down the biggest bet, a humongous bet on everything you've got. Is this fight over in a minute and 10 seconds, 45 seconds, oh my gosh, one of those crazy, crazy moment, early first round, or it's a 25-minute war? What side would you lean on?
It's going to go at least 3 rounds or later.
Okay.
And it'll either end by Jorge Masvidal finishing Nate Diaz with strikes, you know what I mean? Like rock him, hurt him, and start punching him in while he's covered up or something like that. I don't know if he can just put him out. Diaz is tough that way. But I can see Jorge finishing with strikes, or I can see Diaz getting a guillotine or something like that when if he overwhelms, Jorge on the feet and Jorge has to shoot, you know what I mean, when it gets tired. Kind of like that, the first fight with Conor McGregor where he shot that terrible single, double, whatever you want to call it, and ended up just getting his back taken, flattened out real quick and choked, right?
Yeah.
When he did that, I could see something like that happening if in the later rounds, but that would be in 4 or 5. I can see Jorge ending it in 3 or later, or Diaz ending it in 4 or later. But my pick, we'll get to that later, what it is, but I could see either one of those finishes coming that way.
Okay. All right. I leaned back and forth, and it was kind of, my question, and then I was like, oh, what do I think? It's weird. I'm like this whole podcast, the BMF 244, Masvidal, and I don't know, maybe I'm too attached to it. My head's spinning. everyone thinks this is a 5-round absolute once every 4-8 year fight, a war. I got a feeling, man. I'm telling you, in the clinch, and then Masvidal with a big knee. I just got a feeling that it's not going to go as long as people think. I think that's kind of the synopsis. That's kind of the a lot of people, the masses think multiple round, probably championship style main event round fight. I'm going to go the other way. I think it's a little bit quicker, leaner than people think.
Okay, I mean, I can agree. I can see that, bro. I can see. I mean, it seems now that I was watching a few fights of your boy Jorge. I checked out a few old ones.
Yep.
And I watched him and Paul Daly fight. This is also already after Jorge had a long fight career already. You know what I mean? He's already, because he's fought forever. You know what I mean?
He really has.
So he's there.
That's underrated about him.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's underrated about Masvidal. Everyone thinks Diaz has got this long legacy dynasty. Masvidal's been around for a minute. That man's been around the block.
all over the world fighting, right? All over the world. So I was watching a few fights. I can agree with you that I can see where you're coming from with the striking of Masvidal now. It's a little bit different than it used to be. There's a little bit more pop. There's a little bit more timing. There's a little bit more of the smaller things cleaned up like that it just makes it seem like it's clicking a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? A little bit. The fast twitch muscles are coming off a little bit faster now, or whatever like that, however you want to say it. You know what I mean? But there's just something slightly different from his striking then to his striking now. Even though it looks similar, it looks, still methodically clean and everything like that. But this motherfucker, Phil Dorsett. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm watching fantasy football when we're doing this.
And I love it. Almost every podcast, maybe we cuss once a time, but it's the BMF title. So John is just shooting up a storm over there. I love it. This is going to be a explicit podcast. I'm going to have to get my Showgirls rated R N17 Booker out for this one. This is oh my god.
I'm like, it sucks too because I'm playing Dorsett. He just caught one, but I also have Tom Brady on another league, and he just threw it. So it's like, all right, what do I like any of this? I don't like it. But anyways, back to the fight. Jorge Masvidal's striking is a little bit different. Like I was saying, he's got more pop to it. There's just that it thing to it. You know what I mean? That's a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
A little bit more than what it used to be.
And
I can completely understand where you can see him ending it sooner. You know what I mean? Where you can see it ending, in the first or second round, because if he catches you, there's that it now. There's that boom. You know what I mean? He can push that button a little bit easier now, it seems like. And it's going to be interesting to watch, because finding that button on Nate Diaz is a how do I want to say it, is a puzzle itself. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So, only one man's ever done that.
Yep. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I can see it. I know what you're saying, but I'm going to go, like you say, we play the percentages in this game. I'm going to go with the percentages that it's going to be really hard for them to find Nate Diaz's the chin, but he could definitely do it. I think he finds it easier later when everybody gets a little bit tired, but I could definitely see what you're saying.
Wow. Okay. So I do want both of us to have 2 or 3 minutes to kind of give out our fight prediction. Why do we think this? And talk to the Fight Bananas community. So, before you can go first or I can go first, I want to make sure everyone subscribe to the Fight Bananas on YouTube. Also, check out iHeartRadio, guys. iHeartRadio was begging for the Fight Bananas to be on it. So, I said the okay. They're allowed to. So, if you listen to iHeartRadio or if you download podcasts there on that platform, go into that search bar, put in Fight Bananas, and boom, there you go. You're welcome, iHeartRadio. You're welcome. All right.
So, all right, let's do this. Let's do this a little bit different, Dave.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go first, but I'm going to break down each round really quickly.
Okay, go.
So round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, and then if I'd
it.
say my finish comes in that round, that's when I'll say my finish and who does it. And
I love
you do
it.
the same.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I think it's probably the 4th best idea you ever had.
Fourth, all right, that's cool, man. I got to figure out what those first three were. So that way, if they're an idea we can capitalize on, we can go invent it and get on Shark Tank or something, right?
I love me some Shark Tank.
I do too. Okay, so round one, Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz. The bell rings, they come out, and I think a lot of jabs, a lot of feints, a lot of reading. I think they download for about 2 minutes, and we start getting into a little bit of scraps here and there. They start tagging each other. You can see them smiling, liking it, and they both take a few hits, and we do a little oohs and ahs. Nothing big bad, nothing huge, just but a few oohs and ahs, and it's just kind of like an appetizer round for us. We're getting excited. You know what I mean? So it goes. I'll actually give that round because of his length to Nate Diaz. Okay, I'm going to give that round to Nate Diaz real quick. Nothing super razor sharp, but just because of a few, his length, keeping outside a little bit, we're going to go ahead and give that round to him. Round two goes. I think Jorge steps forward a little bit more. I think they clash in the middle, and Jorge starts ripping off a couple more combos with a little bit more power behind him than Nate does. They go at it a few scraps. I think Jorge starts finding his movement, his head movement, and starts getting away from some of the punches, the long punches that Nate Diaz does. I think Nate Diaz starts to try to clinch a little bit. Jorge keeps him off, throws a couple knees, couple elbows, only a few land, and then they to end the round, and nothing really major. No one's really getting hurt, but you can start seeing they're getting a little bit more into it, a little bit more angst is going on. They're getting lathered up a lot more, and I'm going to give that round to Jorge, so it's 1-1. Third round, I think they come out, and I think either one is going to – one thing's going to happen here. One of them is going to come out really hard to get that lead going into the later half of the rounds. So one's going to come hard. I'm going to tell you, I don't know which one is going to be a toss-up for me. Whoever comes out hard in that third round is going to lead the pace for the rest of it. I feel the other guy will take the back seat and just kind of take their break on it while this guy's kind of running. When I say take their break, but kind of just play the more defensive, try to say, okay, he's really using his energy. I'm going to try and control mine a little bit better. And, if I take this round and lose it, it is what it is. But as long as I don't get hurt, I don't get hurt, right?
Okay.
So I give that round as a straight-up coin toss. Anybody can call it they want. I don't care. Somebody's going to come out very hard and aggressive, and that person's going to win that round. The fight now gets really funny from this point because the guy who doesn't win the third round, whether it be Jorge or Nate, is going to come out extra hard in the fourth, right? They're going to have to come out and press a little bit. Now, depending on how much damage they took in the third, going to be a little bit, starting to fade in the fourth round. So to me, the person who comes out in the third round wins the fight and gets it, because the fourth round, the guy's going to have to try to come back a little bit. I think they're going to press too hard. And I'm going to say right there, just because my fight prediction is going to go this way. I want to say right there that that's Nate Diaz that comes out in the fourth, okay? He comes out in the fourth, and he gets a little bit overzealous to catch up. He pushes it just a little bit too much. And right then, I think that's when Jorge starts opening, seeing some reach and timing the pressure coming forward, kind of like he started to with Darren Till when Darren Till was pressuring him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then from there, I think he just starts landing some big shots, landing some hard things, starts pressing the pace very much at the end. I'd say a minute and a half left. He can start seeing Nate fade a little bit, and he pushes the pace just enough. Gets it from, 75 miles an hour to about 85 to 90. Hasn't hit the full gas pedal yet. Hasn't hit it to the 100, but gets it a little bit going right at the end. Saves enough gas to smash that thing into the floor in the fifth round. So when the fifth round comes out, I figure on the 2 minute mark, he catches him with something hard puts him against the fence, and starts just, I don't want to say it, starts just putting it on him. And kind of clips him, knocks him down to one knee, and kind of just, starts kind of like the Stipe DC finish, but not such a knockout. Like, I think Nate Diaz will be covered up, not so much of just taking straight punches to the dome,
Right.
Getting clipped. I think it's more of he rolls down and kind of just gets finished like Josh Thompson kind of finished him. Clipped him, didn't really knock him out cold cocked, but covered up enough to where, dude, you got no fight left in you. You're kind of just, sitting there. And I think Jorge wins in the fifth round by TKO, not KO, TKO finish.
Okay, guys, that is the Fight Finesse podcast. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. I can't top that. That's
Did
incredible.
I think about it for a little while? I think I thought about it for a while, right?
Oh my gosh. I go to bed at night and I thank the good Lord for life. I kiss my wife on the cheek. I walk to my boys' room and say, good night, boys. I love you guys. We'll wake up. We'll have a great day tomorrow. And then I think about this fight. But I think you've totally outdone me. I don't know what to say. That is incredible, Professor. For one, I like your fight prediction. And if you know me, so I'm going there. I think 4 seconds. No. I honestly think in round 2.
4 seconds.
I think in round 1, I think Diaz wins round 1. I think Diaz.
we're in agreement with that.
Yes, I do. I think he jabs. He's got the better reach, and I think he's just a little bit, in a way, Diaz has fought Conor not once but twice. You're right. I think Conor McGregor could. I think Nate Diaz could fight Donald Trump or Barack Obama in front of 8 million people, and he wouldn't give a shit. You know what I mean? I think Diaz has he doesn't care. He's been in the highest highs and lows. Masvidal, and I know he's the same way. I know, but this is, to me, the absolute biggest fight Jorge Masvidal has ever been in his life. So I just think, and, I'm not trying to say he's going to look bad in the first. I just think he's going to be a...
This is bigger than Ben Askren's fight? The Ben Askren fight?
Oh, 100%. 100%, dude. That was the third... Okay. It was the featured fight. It wasn't even the co-main, right?
Yeah, but that fight had way more implications in both men's career than anybody could ever let on. That could have been a main event fight just like this one.
Oh, it could have. And let me say, I think Masvidal absolutely knew he had Ben Askren's number. And the worst, he's like, hey, man, like, if Ben's going to kind of beat me, he's just going to literally lay on me and out-wrestle me. And, like, You got your point back from the opening round.
Yeah,
I don't think he worried and, whatever. The Diaz, I think he respects him. I think he honestly, deep down, like I said, he really does respect Diaz. And there's going to be just a tiny bit off, just a tiny bit, and Diaz is that good. He'll win the first round, but the second round, after Diaz, after Masvidal getting hit a little bit, he's really going to work those power shots. I think he's going to end it in a clinch setting with a massive knee, pulling Diaz down in a outstanding fashion. Not knockout, and I agree with that as well. He's going to hit a huge knee, a huge elbow. Diaz will fall back, 1-2 on top. Herb Dean rushes in, hits Masvidal over, and he walks away with his hands behind his back, and he says, Usman, you're next.
And The Rock puts the belt around him.
If you smell la 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 what Jorge Masvidal is cooking. Oh my gosh, that would be
all right.
Dude, if Jorge Masvidal and The Rock is in a UFC octagon, my life has just gone to another level. The rapture could happen. You could take me away. Life is good.
That's awesome. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I agree with you. That's an epic moment.
That is. This is a moment, guys. Unbelievable. I think the most fun ever we've had on the Fight Breakdown. It's been one of our most popular shows. This is our 4th or 5th one. I still have not lost on my Fight Breakdown prediction. I am a clean 3 or 4-0. So, Jorge Masvidal, you're welcome.
Excellent, bro. That was fun, man. That was fun.
That was. Any last words? BMF, 244, MSG, Masvidal Diaz, any last words?
No, man, just everybody tune in. All right, all you 10% fans out there that don't like this fight, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be very, very sad come Sunday morning on November 3rd when everybody's talking about the fight of the century and you guys were over there twiddling your thumbs watching college football for some reason. So have fun with that. But everybody else, get your popcorn ready. Get everything set. Don't leave when the main event starts. When Bruce Buffer says it's time, keep your ass there and get ready to watch one of the greatest shows on earth.
Wow. Couldn't say it better myself. My man, that's Jon Radford, the Professor. We appreciate you. This has been Fight Bananas Podcast. I'm Dave Van Auken. Have a great day, night, morning, and like always, stay bananas.